Today we're making another soup recipe because for some reason we've been having record cold weather here in the Midwest. It's been like -8 or it's been like 8 degrees, feels like -22. So we're gonna make Italian sausage soup. This is a variation of a tomato soup. It's got some nice Italian sausage in there. We got some spinach, some basil. It's a very rich and hearty soup. Make sure you guys share this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get to cooking. Now to start this soup off, we have an 8-quart pot on medium heat. We're gonna add about 1/4 cup of some olive oil. And then once the oil is hot, we're gonna add our onion. That's just one whole onion that we just roughly diced. Season with a little bit of salt and black pepper. And remember, you always wanna start with the onions unless there's bacon. We would render the bacon fat and then saute the onions in the bacon fat. But since there's no bacon in this recipe, you always start with the onions. Now after a few minutes, the onions will start to caramelize slightly and they'll release a little bit of sweetness into the soup. Now we're gonna add about 4 or 5 cloves of some minced garlic. Give that a quick stir for about 30 seconds. And then just as you begin to smell the garlic, we're gonna add 1 pound of Italian sausage. Now what I have here is 2 links of sweet sausage and then 1 link of hot Italian sausage. And actually, this is chicken sausage. I don't like to eat pork, so I usually use chicken sausage. A lot of times the grocery store will make their own sausage, either their own pork sausage or chicken sausage. It's better to just buy it fresh if you can find it. And then what I do is just remove it from the casing and then it becomes bulk sausage. Now, if I wasn't using the hot Italian sausage, I would add a little bit of red pepper flake. But since I don't want to make it too spicy, we're not going to add any. If you don't like it spicy, just use all sweet Italian sausage and it should be just fine. Now we're just going to continue to let the sausage fry, break it up into small pieces that'll fit on a spoon. Now once the sausage is browned and cooked by about half, we're going to add a teaspoon of some dried oregano, a couple sprigs of fresh thyme, and a few bay leaves. Continue to let that fry for about 30 seconds or so. And now we're going to add just a little bit of some dry sherry. Once the wine is evaporated, we're going to add some diced carrots and celery, a can of diced tomatoes, and 1 can of tomato sauce. We're gonna give this a quick stir till combined, till all the tomatoes and vegetables are all evenly distributed. And then we're gonna add about 4 cups of chicken stock. We might need a little bit more, it depends. We're gonna add some rice to this later on. Now that looks pretty good, but I'll tell you what though, by the time we add the rice and let this cook for a while, all this liquid's gonna be evaporated, so we're gonna go ahead and add another 4 cups. So we got 8 cups of chicken stock total. Now I know it's gonna need more salt and pepper, so we're gonna add just a little bit of salt and black pepper now. Give it one final stir here. Now we're gonna bring this soup to a gentle simmer. Then you're gonna go ahead and cover it with the lid and let this simmer for about an hour or so, or until the vegetables are nice and soft and the sausage is cooked through. So our soup has been simmering for about an hour. As you can see, we got plenty of broth. Our sausage is cooked, our vegetables are soft. Now we're gonna add a few cups of rice. This is cooked jasmine rice. Now you can always use encini di pepe, you can use orzo, whatever noodle you like. I like to keep it gluten-free, so I add just a little bit of cooked rice. We're gonna add a handful of some fresh spinach. Then we're gonna add a bunch of some fresh basil. I love the taste of basil. You can always add a little bit of dried basil first if you want. You can add a little bit of fresh basil when you go ahead and saute the onions. And then a handful of some fresh parsley. We're gonna let this continue to simmer for about another 3 minutes or so, or just until our spinach is softened. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna taste the broth, just to make sure it's seasoned enough. So to be honest with you guys, I think I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't think it needs any more salt or pepper. You always wanna make sure you taste your soup and adjust the seasoning. You could always add more salt and pepper later on. It's harder to take it away, so make sure it's properly seasoned. And now we're gonna go ahead and serve this up. We're gonna add a couple ladles of our soup right to the bowl. And there's something I like to do usually. I like to add some croutons with a little bit of cheese and stuff, kind of like a French onion soup. But, you know, this is a pretty rich soup. I didn't feel like doing it this time, but, you know, you can always add some croutons with some shredded mozzarella and some Parmesan. It'll be delicious. Add some freshly grated Parmesan cheese right there. Garnish with a little bit of basil and parsley, a little bit of black pepper. And there it is, our beautiful and easy Italian sausage soup. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Let me have another bite to make sure it's good. It's like a tomato soup on steroids. Amazing, it's rich. The sausage has a nice fennel flavor to it. I like fennel. If you don't like fennel, don't use sausage, use something else. Caramelizing the onions give a little bit of sweetness. The carrots give some sweetness, so there's no need to add any sugar to offset the acidity of the tomatoes. The basil is perfect, that right at the end, you get a nice burst of some fresh basil flavor. It's not too spicy, so you could maybe add a little bit of chili flake if you want. I was just kind of cautious about it because I didn't know if I would make it too hot if I added the chili flake because of the hot Italian sausage in there, but it's the perfect right amount of heat for somebody who doesn't like it super spicy. If you want it a little spicier, add a little bit of chili flake. The spinach adds a nice earthy touch to it, but it is optional. You don't need spinach. If you don't want to use the rice, encini di pepe, orzo, some kind of small pasta noodle will be perfect. Just make sure you use enough broth. If you use noodles like that, it will soak up all your broth, and then you'll basically have a Spanish rice at that point. You're not gonna have a soup. So if you guys end up trying this recipe, please leave me a comment. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know what you guys want me to cook next. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.